Welcome back, YouTube. Titan Fragrance Reviews. I wanted to cover something, as you'll see on the topic. It's common in the fragrance community. Maybe a lot of YouTubers have done it. Just giving you my take on the King, Aventus. Now, those of y'all supporting the channel, I do appreciate all y'all's support. If you would take the time, subscribe, comment, give me a like, thumbs up, or dislike if you'd like. Just let me know what you're looking for in content. I'll be glad to try to work on that. But a very masculine, they refer to this as the King. I do think it's a great fragrance. I do think that there is room for anyone in their collection if their budget dictates. But I'm going to give you some alternatives and my take on some of the ones that I've acquired. What's worthy of a buy, in my opinion, or whether this is the only thing. I know you see a lot of people say, well, just save up for this. Well, this thing runs you over $300. So this may not quite be what's in everyone's budget or what they're willing to even invest towards a fragrance, and that's okay. There's some great alternatives I'm going to show you that'll do the same thing, maybe not as well, but they're going to be right in par and at a fraction of what this is. I'm going to start out with the lesser performer ones, but they're also at the very low end of the price point. So I'm going to start out with Aventus by Al Haramain. This thing is, the top notes are more lemony or lime as opposed to the pineapple you get off of here. I'm not even going to go over batches and all that. I know Aventus fanboys are going to be, that's their big thing. Hey, I'm not going to go into that part. This one is about probably finding around $20 or less on discount sites. Smells great. It's pleasant. Performance is average, 5 hours or so, I would say. I've only given it a few wearings. Looks great on the collection. This is a smaller bottle, but something like this will get you through, get you the same vibes. It's probably about 75–80% this. Pretty cool, pretty good. And again, for 20 bucks versus 300, you can see where the benefit would be of adding this one onto it. But that's one of them. Insurrection Pure 2, another one. Now this one does have some pineapple in there. It's a little brighter opening, although I find that the longevity off of me is actually below average on this. It doesn't seem to last long, so you know it wouldn't hurt to maybe even layer this with one of the ones I show you on the lower end of the spectrum, and you kind of get the best of both worlds, a little more longevity, because ultimately once it dries down, that's really where it counts, or a little brighter opening. And I think this one with one of the ones I'm going to talk to you in a minute is actually going to be a great layer combo if you want that pineapple in the opening and then get to the dry down where it's even more Aventus like. London by English Laundry. For one, this thing, if you hunt it down, Marshall's $12.99. For that price, it's a buy, you know? And it's very close. It's around the same avenue of these. Is it the same quality? Is it the same? No, but I do think that this one right here, for the price point, if you find it, might as well just pick it up. $12.99. It's definitely something you can throw in your gym bag, throw in some in your travel bag. If anything happened to it, really not that big a deal. But it still performs on average. Again, not the most stellar performance, but it isn't bad. You know, opening is okay, kind of bright. It's definitely worthy, I think, of looking at it at that price point. If we're going to go into probably the best one I could think of, and I know there's going to be people saying, oh my gosh, whatever, but I think this right here, for the money, is around the $35 price point. Club de Nuit Intense Man. This thing is probably one of my better compliment getters. It is beast mode, regardless of the atomizer, which we won't go into right now. People say the silver stem and all that garbage, but I'm telling you, this thing right here is going to perform. It's going to last. It projects off the skin for hours and hours, and it's going to stay with you all day long. 35 bucks. I think it's definitely a must-have in any collection, especially if you're not wanting to pony up for this, or you just want to add some variety into your collection and you just don't have it. I think it's a great ad for anybody to have something like this. I mean, it's going to perform. It's going to give you compliments. When the dry down, the initial opening on this is a little bit synthetic, a little bit harsh. As people say, it's like lemon pledge or something. I don't really say it's that harsh. It is something that at first may be like, ooh, that's a little potent, but let it sit for 15, 20 minutes and you're golden. That thing is going to be, it's going to be with you for the long haul, and people will notice it and will definitely say, wow, hey, what are you wearing? So, and for the price point, like I'm telling you, can't go wrong with that. Now, once we go into these right here, this is a little more. I got an 18K11, I think is what I got here, for those that are going to want to know the batch code. Little brighter, a little bit more pineapple-y, less smoky, less birch, stuff like that. This is Parfums Vintage Emperor Extrait. Okay, now this thing here is going to give you more of the older style of Aventus take, and it is a very strong performer. It lasts, it projects. It's a little bit smokier. So little older batches for those that are really interested in that. The price point on these for the 50, I want to say, is around 120, and the bigger bottle, the 100s, are like 195. So you're going to pay a little bit more, but for what you're getting, you're going to get a much closer resemblance to older batches of Aventus, and performance is not lacking. So definitely, if that's within your budget, a great ad, I think, with what it is. Parfums Vintage Emperor Extrait. Okay. Bond number 9, HTTP. This thing is fresh and bright. I think it is not quite in this so much mirroring this as their take on it, and this thing is, as it's a compliment getter as well. I think it lasts pretty well, a little above average for me, and we'll garner you some compliments on this and give you that pineapple-y vibe throughout the day, and it's definitely a very, very good scent. The price point probably on this is around, I think on discounters, around the 120-ish, 130-ish or so. So you are going to pony up a little bit of money, but the bottle looks, all the bonds I think have pretty cool bottles. But more importantly, the juice, I think it performs. I think it's bright. I think it's right along that alley that people are looking for, at a third of the price of something like this. And so again, you're going to have to decide what your budget point is. This one, I get somewhat of what they're saying. It's a Drop Boise by Mancera. I don't necessarily think that it's a clone, or may take some inspiration, but I definitely think this does its own thing, and this thing is amazing. I think it's definitely darker. It's more mature. It's not as, how should we say, as bright and youthful. This is more matured, smoky for sure, this thing, and it performs. Mancera's normally do this. I've had a few run-ins with them, and this one definitely puts out, lasts, and will be more distinctive. Like I said, it's a little smokier, little more on the darker end versus the bright, fizzier pineapple end that this batch is, or that some of these else might be. But I just had to mention it because others have said it is, and I think it does its own thing. But I do think that this right here, and like I said, Mancera's do a pretty good job of performance and staying power and everything. So, but I had to mention it. And as far as I'm going off the things that are in my collection that I think that may be of a great thing to look at, to whether spruce up your collection or whether you've been thinking about it, some of these are going to be right up that alley in this vein, and that would be comparable. Not taking its place. I'm not saying that any of these are better. They all do their own little thing. But for recent batches and so forth, you know, you're definitely going to be paying a premium. But with these are some great alternatives, in my opinion. So you're going to have to decide on that. Like I said, I'm going to start doing some houses. If you have any suggestions, any houses you want to see that I have in my collection, I'll give you my take on them. And hopefully we can move along this journey, get to learn a little bit more about all these different fragrances or different houses. And like I said, if you would, take the time, support us, subscribe, like, comment, and we'll see you on the next one.